The movie opens deep in the middle of a dark and isolated forest. Inside a rundown cabin lives an unhappy woman named Kattalin. As she prepares dinner, a strange whistle echoes through the woods. She hears it clearly but chooses to ignore it. Instead, she secretly drops several red mushrooms into the soup simmering over the fire. Moments later, the eerie whistle echoes again, drawing her attention toward the forest. Before she can investigate, her crippled and tyrannical husband, Pello, arrives and immediately demands food. Kattalin serves him the very soup she just poisoned. As he eats, Pello casually mentions that he will be leaving for Urkijo the next day to work at an apple orchard. Kattalin then asks about Pastor Matteo. While finishing his meal, Pello explains that nobody has seen Matteo since the disturbing events that recently took place at the church. He then orders Kattalin to sit and eat with him. Reluctantly, she obeys. Before going to bed, Pello reminds her to prepare his best shirt for the journey. As soon as he falls asleep, Kattalin rushes outside and vomits the soup into the bushes. She clearly never intended to eat the poisonous meal. Afterward, she returns inside and secretly puts on Pello's clean shirt, almost as if she is preparing for a desperate escape. But suddenly, Pello wakes up. He approaches Kattalin and tries to get intimate with her. She immediately pushes him away. Furious, Pello slaps her across the face and yells that the shirt was supposed to be ready for him tomorrow. Not long afterward, his condition suddenly deteriorates. He notices one of the red mushrooms and realizes what has happened. Before long, he collapses onto the floor. Without looking back, Kattalin grabs a lantern and a bag and flees into the forest in the middle of the night, completely ignoring the dangers that lurk among the trees. And with that, Chapter 1 begins. A woman's voice narrates an ancient legend. According to local folklore, anyone who entered the woods after sunset never returned. They were said to be swallowed by Gaua, the night god, ruler of the shadows and protector of the darkness. The narration also reveals that Kattalin was never happy living with Pello. As she journeys deeper into the woods, she notices an unnaturally dark path ahead. At the same time, a figure resembling Pello appears behind her. At first, she thinks it's her husband. Then the figure suddenly breaks into a sprint. That's when Kattalin realizes the horrifying truth. This is not Pello. It's something far more dangerous. Terrified, she runs into the darkness and hides behind a tree while the creature searches relentlessly for her. Moments later, the figure undergoes a horrifying transformation. It becomes Gaua himself, the giant lord of the night and master of the dark forces that roam the forest. Overcome with panic, she eventually falls to the ground. Surprisingly, Gaua simply stares at her before disappearing back into the darkness. Not long afterward, three mysterious women named Reem, Beltra, and Graciana find and rescue her. Recognizing Kattalin, they question what she is doing in their part of the forest. Thinking quickly, Kattalin claims she had gone out to wash clothes when something suddenly started chasing her. The women reassure her that she is safe now. Reem notices Pello's shirt lying nearby, having slipped from Kattalin's hands during her escape, and returns it to her. The three women then bring Kattalin back to their secluded home and begin washing the shirt. As they talk, Graciana explains that the abbot of Urkijo has forbidden their gatherings. The parish priests constantly watch them, suspecting nearly every woman of being a witch. Because of that, whenever they get the chance, they secretly meet together to share wine, tell scary stories, and enjoy each other's company. Graciana mentions that she was in the middle of a story when Kattalin unexpectedly arrived. The women invite her to join them. Kattalin shyly admits that she doesn't know any scary stories. Graciana then asks a simple question. Do you believe in witches? Kattalin says no. Remy takes a sip of wine and announces that it is now her turn to tell a story. She claims that what she's about to share isn't folklore or a fairy tale. It actually happened just 1 month ago in their town. According to her, Eugenia's daughter Marichu was cursed by a witch who summoned an ancient evil spirit known as Inguma. As Remy begins her tale, the movie transitions into the events of her story. In a small hamlet, people believe that the spirits of their ancestors protect their homes unless someone disturbs them through dark and forbidden arts. Inside one house, Pastor Matteo prays over Eugenia's sick daughter Marichu. Marichu's mother Eugenia and her younger brother Anton watch helplessly as her condition continues to worsen. As Matteo recites his prayers, something invisible suddenly begins choking the girl. Just as abruptly, the force disappears. Convinced of what he witnessed, Matteo declares it to be witchcraft. Meanwhile, Kattalin and Pello arrive at Eugenia's home. Outside, they spot an elderly woman named Esther, whom many villagers believe to be a witch. Then something impossible happens. Esther suddenly transforms into a cat and darts away. Shocked, Kattalin investigates the area and discovers a rooster that has been brutally torn apart. Ignoring the disturbing sight, she enters the house while Pello remains outside. Inside, she encounters Father Matteo and asks about Marichu's condition. Mateo grimly replies that the girl is either in God's hands or already in the devil's clutches. Upstairs, Kattalin visits Mauricio. At the same time, Anton quietly heads into the forest to gather more firewood. Seeing Kattalin immediately brightens Mauricio's mood. Kattalin hands her a bouquet of flowers and gently promises that once she recovers, they will travel to Bayonne together, dance, laugh, and enjoy life once again. Father Mateo steps outside the house and notices Esther standing silently near Mauricio's home. For the first time, we get a clear look at her unsettling appearance. One of her eyes is completely white. Without uttering a single word, Esther simply turns around and hobbles away into the distance. Back inside the house, Mauricio suddenly begins choking again. This time, the attack is even worse. Seconds later, a spirit possesses her body. Mauricio abruptly sits upright in bed and stares directly at Kattalin with an unnatural expression. In a voice that clearly isn't hers, she accuses Kattalin of being guilty and orders her to get out of the house. Immediately after, Mauricio collapses back onto the bed. The horrifying scene becomes too much for Kattalin to bear, so she leaves the house. Meanwhile, Anton desperately asks his mother if there is anything they can do to save Mauricio. Having exhausted all other options, Eugenia reluctantly tells him to seek help from Esther. Whether people call her a witch or not, she is the only person who might know what to do. Anton ventures deep into the forest until he reaches Esther's decrepit shack. As he approaches, the door slowly creaks open on its own. Inside, Esther calmly prepares a meal as if she had been expecting him all along. She invites him inside and immediately reveals that Mauricio is being tormented by a spirit, and she knows exactly who it is. Esther asks Anton about the last member of their family who died. Anton replies that it was his grandfather, Inguma, who passed away a year earlier. She then asks whether Inguma had any reason to be angry with Mauricio. Anton quickly denies it. In fact, he says Inguma loved her more than anyone. After listening carefully, Esther hands him a candle and gives him a strange set of instructions. He must place the candle beside a figure representing Inguma and light it. Then he must cover the flame with a bowl. When the moment arrives, he must remove the bowl, pierce a rooster's heart with pins, scatter rotten corn across the floor, and recite, "Inguma, I am not afraid of you because Gawargi is with me." Anton returns home and follows Esther's instructions exactly. Together with Eugenia, he lights the candle and covers it with the bowl. Almost immediately, the spirit of Inguma appears. The terrifying apparition sits directly on top of Mauricio's body while choking the life out of her. As Mauricio struggles to breathe, Inguma coldly tells her to prepare to pay for what she did to him. Anton begins driving pins into the rooster's heart. Each stab causes visible agony to the spirit. Next, he scatters the rotten corn across the floor and recites Esther's words. The moment he finishes, Inguma stiffens and suddenly disappears. But victory comes at a terrible price. Mauricio is already dead. Outside the house, Inguma's spirit appears once more, gathering the scattered corn. Then the first rays of sunlight strike him. The spirit bursts into flames and is completely destroyed. Shortly afterward, Father Mateo arrives at Eugenia's home. While inspecting the scene, he discovers a wooden doll lying on the floor. Without hesitation, he declares that Mauricio had been possessed by a demon attracted through witchcraft. After Mauricio's death, Anton visits the church to confess everything to Father Mateo. He explains how he sought Esther's help and followed every one of her instructions. But instead of salvation, a demonic spirit of Inguma appeared before them. At that point, Reem's story comes to an end, and the film returns to the present. Reem wonders aloud what terrible sin Mauricio could have committed to make her own grandfather hate her so much. Kattalin immediately disagrees. No matter what the legends say, she insists Mauricio never did anything wrong. Reem asks how she can be so certain. Kattalin replies that she knew Mauricio better than anyone. The girl was already sick, and whatever Esther gave her only made her condition worse. The statement instantly irritates Rem, Beltra, and Graciana. The women passionately defend Esther. According to them, Esther is not a witch at all. She spent years helping the people of the hamlet while Father Mateo and the church authorities pulled out all the stops to destroy her reputation. The women remind Kattalin that Esther is their friend, just as Mauricio was hers. Kattalin then reveals a surprising piece of information. Father Mateo has been missing for an entire week. Nobody knows where he went. At that moment, Graciana smiles and says she knows exactly what happened to him. She takes a long drink from her jug of wine and announces that it is now her turn to tell a story. According to her, Mateo was proud, hypocritical, and obsessed with authority. But above everything else, he loved hunting. He was also known for constantly whistling like a tixtu flute. Because of that habit, people nicknamed him Mateo Tixtu. And with that, Chapter 3 begins. The story opens during Mauricio's funeral. Father Mateo stands before the grieving villagers and declares that a demon was responsible for her death. Suddenly, Esther appears in the town square. The villagers are stunned. But before anyone can react, she transforms into a crow and flies away into the sky. Sometime later, Matteo ventures into the woods with his loyal hunting dog. While tracking game through the forest, he stumbles upon something that completely catches him off guard. Hidden among the trees are Kattalin and Mauricio. The two women are laughing, playing, and enjoying each other's company. Mauricio excitedly suggests that they run away to Bayonne together that very night. Kattalin hesitates and says if Pello catches her, he will beat her black and blue. Mauricio already has a solution. They can disguise themselves as men. Then she hands Kattalin one of the same red mushrooms seen earlier. According to Mauricio, adding it to Pello's food will simply knock him unconscious. As they talk, emotions take over. The two women become intimate in the middle of the field, completely unaware that Matteo is secretly watching from behind a nearby tree. The scene finally reveals the truth. Kattalin and Mauricio were lovers. Just as Matteo raises his gun toward them, a rabbit suddenly appears. But this is no ordinary rabbit. One of its eyes is completely white, just like Esther's. Distracted, Matteo fires at the animal. The rabbit immediately flees into the woods. The gunshot alerts Kattalin and Mauricio, who quickly escape. Furious, Matteo fires again. This time, the bullet tears straight through the rabbit. Yet moments later, the impossible happens. The wound heals instantly. The rabbit gets back up and disappears into the forest. At that moment, it becomes obvious that the creature was never a normal rabbit. It was Esther. Shaken by what he witnessed, Matteo returns to the village. Soon afterward, he summons Pello to his office, and whatever Matteo is about to reveal could destroy Kattalin's life forever. Pello assumes that Father Matteo has summoned him to discuss the apple orchard job in Urkijo, but Matteo quickly crushes that hope. That isn't why he called him. Instead, Matteo reveals that he wants both Pello and Kattalin to travel to Urkijo and testify before a judge that Esther is a witch. Then he drops an even bigger bombshell. Matteo claims that he personally witnessed Kattalin spending intimate moments with Mauricio deep in the woods. According to him, Kattalin is planning to abandon her husband and run away. The revelation completely shatters Pello. Heartbroken and furious, he falls right into Matteo's trap. Not long afterward, Matteo gathers the townspeople at church and delivers a fiery sermon against witchcraft. He urges everyone to report anyone they suspect of practicing witchcraft to the Abbey of Urkijo. Suddenly, the familiar rabbit with the white eye appears in the church. The sight immediately drives Matteo into a frenzy. Strangely, nobody else seems alarmed. While the villagers stare in confusion, Matteo grabs his rifle and starts firing wildly at the rabbit. The animal bolts toward the woods. Panic erupts among the congregation as people scatter in every direction. Matteo whistles for his hunting dog and chases after the rabbit. And then something very strange happens. Matteo and his dog disappear into the forest, but they are never seen again. As far as the villagers know, Father Matteo simply vanished without a trace. Inside the now empty church, a mysterious woman quietly closes a Bible and calmly remarks that nobody will ever see Matteo again. The film then reveals the truth. In another dimension, Matteo is still wandering through an endless forest, desperately searching for the mysterious rabbit. He doesn't realize that he has been cut off from the real world forever. The eerie whistles heard throughout the forest are actually Matteo's whistles as he endlessly calls for his lost dog. Back in the present, Kattalin asks the women if they have any proof that their story is true. Rime replies that Matteo himself told her everything before he disappeared. Then Beltra, Graziana, and Rem ask Kattalin a difficult question. Wasn't she one of the people who signed the declaration against Esther? Kattalin immediately denies it. However, the women reveal that they already know the truth. They know Matteo forced her to sign the document by threatening to expose her relationship with Mauricio. The realization hits Kattalin like a hammer. The women accuse her of playing a role in Esther's execution. Overwhelmed with guilt, Kattalin breaks down. The three women tell her that she must now answer to the witches. Before Kattalin can fully understand what they mean, the shocking truth is revealed. Beltra, Graziana, and Rime are witches themselves. They invite Kattalin to join their coven, and with that revelation, Chapter 4 begins. Terrified, Kattalin runs back toward her home. She pounds frantically on the door, begging Pello to let her inside. Pello nervously opens the door, but behind Kattalin stands an entire coven of witches. Before she can enter the house, the witches pull her back into the darkness. They force her to confront her past. Graziana demands that Kattalin admit her role in Esther's fate. Unable to carry the burden any longer, Kattalin confesses. She admits that she regrets her decision every single day. The film then flashes back to the events in Urkijo. Esther had already been captured by the church. The authorities had tied her up and prepared her execution. Kattalin watches helplessly, devastated by what her testimony helped bring about. Yet Esther shows no anger toward her. Instead, she gently tells Kattalin not to cry because she is not truly to blame. Returning to the present, Graxiana explains that Belts, the leader of their coven, will decide Kattalin's fate. She offers Kattalin a choice. She can either remain with her abusive husband or leave with the witches. Without hesitation, Kattalin chooses the witches. Graxiana gives her a mysterious ointment and instructs her how to use it. Then she teaches Kattalin an ancient prayer. The moment Kattalin repeats the words, something incredible happens. She begins rising into the air. Soon, Beltra, Graxiana, Rem, and the rest of the coven join her as they soar through the night sky. Watching from below, Pello panics. Desperate not to be left behind, he grabs the ointment and uses it himself. But instead of lifting gracefully into the air, he is violently dragged through the forest by an unseen force. He crashes into rocks and trees before being hurled high above the ground. There, suspended in the night sky, he finds himself surrounded by the coven. Kattalin floats among them. Pello desperately begs her for help, but Kattalin remembers the years of cruelty and abuse she suffered at his hands. This time, she refuses. Moments later, Pello plummets toward the earth and dies upon impact. The witches descend into a hidden clearing where a great fire burns. For the first time in years, Kattalin feels free. The coven celebrates throughout the night. Then the witches begin calling upon their leader. Belts, a gigantic goat-headed figure, emerges from the darkness. Kattalin is stunned by the being's enormous size and power. As the other witches welcome their leader, Belts slowly approaches Kattalin and gently speaks her name. Then something completely unexpected happens. The towering figure shrinks in size. The goat mask is removed, and beneath it stands none other than Marichu, alive. The woman Kattalin loved more than anyone. Overwhelmed with emotion, Kattalin can hardly believe what she is seeing. The two women finally reunite after everything they have endured. As they embrace, Kattalin realizes that the person she thought she had lost forever has been waiting for her all along. And for the first time in the entire story, she finally finds the happiness she had been searching for.